Hello. Well, it was over 50 today, so I thought we'd take a little fun road trip. It's to a little comic shop called All Heroes Comics. Guy's been in business since '95. I bought a lot of stuff from him in the past, and pretty knowledgeable, friendly. So we're here. So there it is. He always puts this big Spider-Man button out. Pretty cool. You know, picked up a few things. Nothing great. Doesn't have a lot of older back stock, mostly just new stuff, and it is Wednesday, so everyone is talking about Venomized and Red Goblin and all that other stuff, but time to head home. Hello again. Well, you can see by the video in front of this, had a kind of really, I think, fun week for comics this week. I went to All Heroes Comics. I hadn't been there in probably a year. And, you know, didn't have great stuff, but I think that's just the way it is today. They get collections in, they price them, and now out the door they go. So I had a CGC haul video this week with Mike. It's always fun opening those boxes. It's kind of a mix of like Christmas and your birthday when they come back and you open it up, and it's been a lot more fun now opening these with you all live on YouTube. So I hope everyone's enjoying them as much as we do. And Wednesday night chat with Nick and Anthony was a lot of fun this week. I noticed the chat was very active, which is kind of neat. It kind of takes on a life of its own as we just kind of yammer on about whatever we're talking about. So with that in mind too, if you have any questions you want to ask any of us or all of us, I think Nick has an email set up, so you can just email him, and if we can, we'll answer your question on the Wednesday night chat. So books I picked up at All Heroes, you got these True Believers #1, and I realized I haven't read the Iron Man 55 in probably 20-30 years, so I picked it up because I'm gonna read it this weekend. I thought that'd be a fun one to read. The other one I picked up was they had issue 300. Now I had 3 of these, and I sold 2, and I have 1 more that I'm selling. But I haven't read this since 1988. I realized, so I picked it up and started thumbing through it, and I realized, you know what, I think I want to read this. So with the movie coming up, I grabbed this. It's only $1, so it's kind of cool. And then I went through a lot of his boxes, and normally he had some really good Silver Age wall books. He really didn't have much this time. Nothing that I was interested in, at least. But I was going through a box of kind of like Gold Key and Dell and Charlton books, and I came across this one. And you know how I am. Anytime I see a UFO or a rocket ship or some kind of sci-fi in a comic, I gotta grab it. And this one intrigued me too because it has a stacking. You can see this edge here. It has a stacking problem with it. A lot of times where you'll get a stack of books, it'll cause this kind of large crease down it, and I'm going to work on this and press it out so I can bring it back to make it how it looked when it came off the press. But this one's fun. I can't wait to read this one too, so that's cool. If you didn't watch my CGC haul video, it's in my list of videos, but if you just want the books I got Showcase 73, first appearance of the Creeper, and he's definitely creeping. That's for you, Silver Age Dave. That's why you cover up your dress, because this guy's going to show up outside your bedroom window with his red bolo on, peeking at you. And I got New Gods #1. There was a movie announcement. I don't really know the particulars of it. I liked this series, so it'll be neat to see what they do with it. Anyway, it's just a really nice copy. It's a 9.2, so these are both up right now on eBay. I listed them. And then, during the week, I won RB3's contest, and I had forgotten that I entered it. I think it's one of those ones where you just kind of put a comment in and you get entered. And I was watching this video, and I had it on at work. I was working on some bookkeeping stuff, and a lot in there. I heard Ray going through it in the randomizer, and then I heard my name, and I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, Luther Manning won. So he sent me this stuff, and Ray's a great guy in the community. If you don't watch his videos, they're really, really informative. He has a series where he goes through and analyzes, books like Hulk 181 and and how it's done over time, as you know, as far as increasing in value, and then he'll do a comparison to other books in the same time period. Really informative, even if you're not into you know, collecting or the investment part. It's still fun to watch, and he just does a great job with it. It's very easily understandable. His charts and graphs are great. So if you haven't seen those, I'm going to put a link to one below. Just click on it, and I can't believe he doesn't have, you know, hundreds of subs by now. But if you haven't, sub to him, because it's a great channel, very informative. He's on the Wednesday chats usually. So he gave me a stack of books here. This is going to be fun. I think this is Jim Lee driven, if I remember correctly. So I got Infinite Crisis #1. So these are all going to go in the reading pile. So this will be fun for me. I haven't read any new DC other than Rebirth. I am reading that other one too, the Watchmen crossover. Wonder Woman 75th Anniversary Special. These are some great looking covers. The difference to me, the artwork is similar to what it used to be back in the 70s, but just the coloring is incredible what they're able to do now, compared to the little dots they used to use to color everything. I had this, I think, at one time. This is a great cover. Punisher War Journal. And it's got a Spider-Man appearance in it. Pretty cool. These are all Jim Lee, I believe, covers. Yep. Here's another one. Wonder Woman. Oh, this is the series that's if Stan Lee had written it. I'm intrigued by these, so this is going to be fun. These are going to be fun to read. Thanks, Ray. Suicide Squad #4. I don't know anything about any of these, so this is going to be great. This is just going to be total cold reads, and just jump right in and start reading them. Boy, it's an awesome Killer Croc in the background. It sure looks like Deathlock to me, huh? So this is Suicide Squad Rebirth 1. Another awesome cover. It's amazing how much the artwork has changed. Boy, that's really awesome. Suicide Squad April Fool's Special. That crazy. That Man-Bat, that's awesome. That's how he looks now. That's really cool. Always kind of a fun character. The animated series I thought did a great job with. And then lastly, Suicide Squad Rebirth #2. It's freaking me out. That sure looks like Deathlock. I've never read anything with Harley Quinn in it, so this will be fun for me to look at. But thanks, Ray. And last but not least, this feels like a CGC slab here. Boy, that's cool. Look at that. It's a Jim Lee Signature Series CGC 8.5. Superman 211. Superman and Wonder Woman going at it. Off go the panties. There we go. Boy, that's really slick. I don't have any Signature Series, so this is my first one. Jim Lee is, I think his art's gotten better over the years. It feels more depth to it. I think when I first started looking at Jim Lee art, he kind of fell prey to the same thing that I think Liefeld and Larson and some of the others did, where you could tell they didn't know much about anatomy, and they kind of just looked like they drew like an exoskeleton of somebody, and it's very apparent in their artwork. And I think Lee's earlier work seemed like that. He always seemed to draw a chest too big and their limbs were too small. But his new artwork now was great, and there's a lot better movement in it. In the early 90s, if you think a lot of those, everyone looked like they were posing for a family photo, and they've really gotten a lot better, at least Jim Lee's artwork has. And I haven't looked at Larson and some of the others, but Jim Lee's art, I think, is vastly improved what it was back when he first came on the scene in the late 80s. So, but that's great. Never won a contest on YouTube, so that's pretty cool. Thanks again. I'll put a link to Ray down below. Excuse me. So the next thing is my sermon, and I'm trying to make sure I don't come off as being too preachy. I just try to share what's worked for me, and this is something I do all the time. It's my plan check. So as you know, I like to be organized, and I have a plan and try to do things, and it's my AAA check, I call it. And It's assess, adjust, and adhere. First thing you do is look at your plan, if you have a plan. If you don't have a plan, then you skip ahead a few minutes. Assess, is my plan working? Am I getting towards the goal that I want to? It doesn't have to be comics either. In my case, I'm trying to get some Silver Age, key books, Fantastic Four 1, Hulk 1, books like that I want to get. So I kind of came up with this plan a few years ago to do it. And I've adjusted along the way, and that takes me to my second part, adjust. It's okay to adjust your plan. It doesn't mean you failed. It just means that maybe you've evolved and your goal is a little different. For me, I kind of was thinking that I wanted to get all these Silver Age books and like a full run of Spider-Man or a full run of Fantastic Four. And you quickly realize, one, it's extremely time consuming finding these books. And also there's a cost associated with it. So it kind of, you may chase those lesser books, lesser keys forever and never get to your final goal. And that's where adhere comes in. So you got to stay focused. Once you go through, look at your plan, make adjustments to it, adhere to that again until you reassess again. It's really easy to get distracted and, like I eventually want to have a Fantastic Four #3. I love that cover with the Fantastic car, and it's the first time they have their uniforms on. But if I go and chase that now, that's going to take me away from Fantastic Four 1. I feel like it's going to pull me back and I won't be able to just be out of my reach. So, it's pretty simple. You can do it really quick. Just go through. So assess what you're doing. Make some adjustments if you need to, and then just stick with it. Adhere to that plan, and you'll be okay. It's worked for me, and that's today's homework. Do that. Do your AAA plan check. If you have whatever you're doing, if you're building something, you're trying to find a new house, you want to get a new car, if you have a plan for that, go through those steps. And for me, it works great. Let me know if it does for you. But that's the homework for today. So check your plan. If you don't have a plan, it's 2 parts and make a plan. Anyway, recommendations again. It's Legion. I love it. I think season 2 looks like it's shaping up to be even better than season 1. They're kind of closing some loops, and then at the same time they're opening up a whole new phase to the story. I don't want to give anything away, but it's really good. So if you're storing them up so you can watch them all at once, that's great. I really, really enjoy it, and what they get out of what appears to be probably not a huge budget is just shows what you can do if you do things right. If you have a good story, the story is what is great, and that's where you got to start with. But no one's wearing any stupid wigs. There's no crappy CGI in it. You think of all the things that some of, to me the Netflix shows, Iron Fist and some of those, the reason they weren't any good is I just think the stories were bad. They were poorly written, and then they tried to do things on the cheap, and it just, if you're going to do that, don't even bother doing it. And this show is very good at portraying everything, I think, great. It's just visually appealing to me. I love watching the show. A great audio too. It's really good. I love the thing. And then the next thing, I got around to reading 3 and 4, and I have to read 5. But this series is really good. I can't recommend it enough. I think definitely you can feel that it's getting set up, and if you're not reading it, go back and read it. Read it digitally, or maybe, I think they eventually drop those in trades once they have so many issues. But definitely go ahead and do that because it's great. I really enjoy it. So, that's Marvel 2 in 1. And then the last thing is my pick of the week. It's kind of a 2-parter because he dropped the camera. It's AFTA Comics, Alan. Everybody probably knows him. If you don't, listen to him. He's got that silky radio voice, so just listen to him tell stories is great. But it's Sergeant Fury Part 1 and 2, and he shows his Sergeant Fury collection. He has the entire run. I think it's 1 through 167, and he talks about how he got a lot of them and how he got some other books, and it was the early days of eBay, and it's just great if you're a newer collector, and eBay is vastly different than what it used to be. And he goes into the details on how it was different, and it really was like the Wild West back then. And I wasn't buying comics on it back then. I was selling things like electronics and things, and I would buy stuff on there, and it definitely was different back then. So I'm going to put a link to it below, but that's my pick of the week. I enjoyed it. I got a good laugh out of it. You always feel like you're sitting down and Alan's just telling these stories, so it's a lot of fun. And if you're not familiar with AFTA Comics, click click the sub on that, because he has great stuff, and you get to go to his comic room, and you know, he's been a collector for a long time, and has a vast collection. He's a completist, and he's definitely checked his plan and done it. So, but that's all I got for you this week. So till next time, life, liberty, and the pursuit of comic books. Bye.